Developed by Konami and released on June 2002, this is a follow-up to the Circle of the Moon. In Japan, this was the first ever game in the series to have the Castlevania name in the title. This right here is Harmony of Dissonance. Like all my reviews, I complete this game, so grab yourself a cup of tea and hear what I have to say. For those who don't know, this is an exploration game with heavy focus on combat using the iconic whip. Based on a luck system, it will determine if you strike critical damage upon your foes. As you would expect, the game has a traditional RPG elements where your character levels up by receiving experience points. You unlock special abilities to access previously inaccessible locations. This time around, also obtain keys to access previously locked areas. So there's a lot of backtracking in a maze-like castle. In the game we play as Just Belmont, the grandson of Simon Belmont. He inherited the Vampire Slayer. Well, one of Just's mates, Lydie. She is your standard blonde-haired damsel in distress who needs rescuing. I can't even remember how and why she is in the bloody castle. You think she would have stayed away? No. Anyways, Just is accompanied with his friend Maxim. Both head out to rescue her, and our game begins. The game feels and plays a lot like Symphony of the Night. This would make sense as Koji Igarashi, one of the guys who worked on Symphony of the Night, also worked on this little number right here. The controls for the game is precise. Every jump and attack you execute is on point. It's you, the player, who is in control. It's fine 2D precision gaming. Both L and R buttons are used to dash either left or right. Trust me, you'll be dashing a lot in this game. It's very handy as it's a huge castle. Just like Symphony of the Night, there are in fact 2 castles. This easily has to be the biggest castle from the Game Boy Advance lineup. Holding up and B is your standard Castlevania projectile. You know, crosses, daggers, potion and stuff. This would use up your hearts. Well, if you have the spellbook on, you can now use up the magical bar. This basically turns secondary weapons into magical attacks. That's one thing I always admired about Castlevania games. The developers playing around with the concept of magic and abilities. Like the 3 Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance, they really differ in terms of how the magic is used. I felt that this Castlevania hit that middle ground, as it's not as ambitious as of Area of Sorrow, with all the many collectible souls resulting in a fiddly menu, and it's not like Circle of the Moon, which was a bit more basic. It was just perfect for me in that sense. The save points located in the game are a lot more spread apart, making the game feel more challenging. During certain times I was desperate to find the next save point. I like that. It adds to the survival element of the game. The game has some light puzzle sections, which is a welcoming element, making for a good break from all the action. Once you beat the game, the player is rewarded with a boss rush mode. That's pretty cool. What I didn't like about the game? Well, addressing the elephant in the room. The main character has a blue highlight around him. Let's face it, it looks bad. I hate to say it, you get used to it. Talking about the aesthetics of the game. The game has some really ugly backgrounds and some very bold colours. It almost makes you feel nauseous. But saying that, I believe that the developers did this so that the players in low light conditions can see the screen. You guys have to remember this game came out pre-Game Boy SP, so players back then didn't have the benefit of backlit screens. The castle layout is not the best design in the series. It's very much felt like a maze. The bosses are extremely easy. Their AI is somewhat lacking. I beat every boss on my first playthrough. I don't think the game developers gave much thought to the boss designs. The music for the game is okay. This is somewhat of a missed opportunity as Castlevania games are known for having great music, and this game didn't deliver in the music section if I'm honest.
The thing is, this game took me around 5 to 6 hours to complete, but if you want the real ending where you don't fight Maxim and you actually fight Dracula, you would need to collect Dracula's remains which are scattered across the castle. And that, in fact, my friend, is how you really beat the game. There are in fact multiple endings in this game. It does offer plenty of replayability.
Gaming is a strange thing, despite the game having some standout flaws, that being the aesthetics, level design, and sound. It's the gameplay and the scope of the castle which made me enjoy this game. Finally, playing all 3 Castlevania games, I could say Circle of the Moon is my personal favourite. But that doesn't mean that this game should go amiss. If you're into Metroidvania type gaming, then surely you'll like this game. Anyways guys, as always, it's been a pleasure and I want to thank you for watching and supporting my channel. Peace.